Welcome back to A Slice of News, where I cut you off a slice of news. For some time, the perception in America has been that the Republican Party is the party most capable of protecting the U.S. and keeping it prosperous. But it would appear that, according to a recently released Gallup survey, that perception may be waning. According to those polled, only 48% of them believe that the GOP is more likely to keep the country protected, compared to 41% stating that Democrats do. While Republicans still hold the higher percentage, this is down from their 54% they got last year, and even lower from their high of 57% from 2022 and 2023. When pollsters asked Americans if they thought Republicans kept the country more prosperous, 50% of respondents said that they thought Republicans were better at keeping it that way. This year, it was down to 43%, with confidence for Democrats rising to 47%. When they were asked which party was more capable of handling the country's most important problems, during the Biden administration, Republicans had a 2 to 11 point lead over the Democrats. But this year, respondents had the Democrats up over Republicans by 2 points, Democrats receiving 40% to the Republicans 38%. One thing the poll found that didn't change was that yet again, neither party received a particularly high overall favorability score, Republicans receiving only 40% favorability and Democrats 37%. So what this poll seems to be showing us is that while Republicans lost some ground on these important issues like prosperity and national protection, Democrats didn't really make many gains, and that neither party can say that they've got even 50% of the population's support on whether they're viewed favorably or not. People are signaling they're starting to like Republicans less, but that's not translating to them saying that they like Democrats more. Now, you could read this data a couple of different ways, but the way I look at it, it looks to me like what we're seeing is people losing confidence and faith in the Republican Party to really be there for them in the ways that matter, but they also don't think the Democrats are going to be there either, since for many, if you ask them to describe the Democratic Party in 3 words, they would say out of touch. Something I heard a lot going into the last election, and still somewhat now, is that people are feeling like the Democratic Party as a whole are very stuck in their ways and very out of touch with what the quote regular folks want and need. Winning the full confidence and support of even half the country is hard enough, but neither political party seems to have it in them to manage that. For a long time, the political system has favored the tell part of show and tell. They love to tell you what they're going to do. They love to promise you this and that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make sure those and this. But we're in an era of firmly show, don't tell. Don't tell me you're going to make my life better or keep me protected. Show me that. Show me how. Show me results. Give me something I can point to and say, there is the evidence. Don't tell me to trust you. Show me why I should. Something neither the Democrat or Republican Party have seemed to internalize is that trust is earned, not just freely given. So they've leaned on political promises and claims that they are the ones to be trusted, but don't really deliver on evidence of why they are. And what this leads to is a sense among Americans that they don't really like either political party. And worse, it results in political disengagement. I mean, if both sides are no good, why should I pay attention or care about what's going on in politics? And that's the sort of perception and attitude I'm really trying to fight against, because it is vital to be engaged and a part of the political system and to be educated on what is going on around you, because politics is life. It affects every part of everyone's daily life, whether they realize and acknowledge it or not. Political apathy and disengagement is exactly how the bad guys win. It's how despots and tyrants come into power. None of us can afford to have our head in the sand and remain unconnected and saying, oh, I just want to live my daily life. I don't care about politics. What difference does it make what they do in Washington? Sure, maybe you don't have to be at the level where the news is what you watch while you're eating your breakfast, what you listen to when you're driving on your way to work, what you watch when you're having your lunch break, and the soundtrack of your dinner, that level of attention and engagement with current events may be a bit excessive and expecting a little too much from the average American, but I would argue it's not too much to ask to be at least tangentially aware of things around you and what is going on in the political world. It's important to know, and maybe even more importantly, it's important to care. But I also acknowledge that generating a robust and sustained level of enthusiasm for politics is really an uphill battle. We exist in a culture of instant gratification, so the second something seems even slightly boring, people are quick to just disengage and turn off and turn away to something that to them is more exciting and interesting and holds value to them in their personal existence. And I think it's in that the key lies for a political party to really bump up those favorability numbers, to make the political world feel like it's a part of every person's lived existence and not something that is separate from it. And that's something that I think Democrats specifically fail at the most. Republicans have at least managed to tie politics into religion, which is something that is at the core of many of their constituents' daily lives. So for them, there's at least that link in their life between their politics and their life outside of politics. I think it's those within the Democrats that suffer the most by political apathy, by people who would ordinarily vote Democrat if given the opportunity, don't, because they feel like Democrats not only don't really have their wants and needs in mind, but there's nothing that makes them feel connected to the party and make them engaged and want to participate in the political process. I'm willing to venture a guess that a lot of that low favorability score in the Gallup poll was not because of a low opinions of the Democratic Party entirely, but also because there was a lot of people who didn't really feel engaged with them at all. Not that they view them negatively, but just they don't view them particularly well because they don't feel engaged or seen and heard by them. While it was definitely a good sign to see Republicans slipping in the polls, the fact that Democrats were not rising in those same polls was a concerning thing to see. What it says to me, and I wish it would say to the Democratic establishment, is that running as the not Republican Party isn't enough. They need to focus more on why people should like them, why they should come to them, why they should vote Democrat in every election. Focus on what they are, not just giving voice to what they aren't. Getting the average American engaged in politics and caring about it is hard, but it's the Democrats' game to lose, and if this poll is anything to go by, they are losing it. Sure, the Republicans aren't winning it either, but that just means nobody is winning. But I also feel that the responsibility doesn't lie entirely in the hands of politicians and political parties. The average American holds at least some responsibility here, and they need to want to be engaged. They have to want to be a part of the process and to be well informed and care. People owe it to themselves to want to feel engaged and not structure their life around vacuous, unimportant things about the latest trends and celebrities and just frivolities. The world around them is more than that, so their life should be more than just that. I think the sense of anti-intellectualism also plays a part. It feels uncool to care about politics, so a key is to make caring about and being engaged in politics to be cool. And I think we all know the Republicans are synonymous with being uncool. So the Democrats have a perfect opportunity to present themselves as the cool politicians. It's hard, but I think they can do it. So I think one of the big questions this recent Gallup poll is leaving us with is, are these trends going to continue? Are Republicans going to continue to lose points with the American people on the important issues? And also, are Democrats going to stay stagnant and unable to gain some of the points that the Republicans are shedding? Certainly, it's a possibility. One thing to note, though, is that this poll was taken right before the government shutdown that we currently find ourselves in the 22nd day of took effect. So if that poll were to factor in feelings about the two parties in terms of favorability based on their performance during the shutdown and other recent events and statements made by the administration, it really leaves you wondering. I think it would probably hurt Republicans and possibly raise favorability scores among Democrats, but really it's hard to say, and I think we'll have to wait and see for next year's Gallup poll to see if that actually plays out. Alright guys, that'll be it for this episode of A Slice of News. I've been your host, Mr. Slice, and until next time, when I cut you off another slice of news.